There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. There goes a sight from my soul. I think it's all angels just walk by.
I now realize that I really need that ohmic sensor to come down and touch off the material and then retract just a little bit to start that pierce. Because although I still have the torch height controller, sometimes it doesn't actually correct like the actual height of the torch based on where it's at. Like say it could be way high after it moves from like say here way to the end over there, and it can't react fast enough to make that pierce. So having that ohmic sensor would be very beneficial for me, especially for something like this. Now this is 3/16 material. I was cut at about 35 amps and about an 1/8 inch away from the material, and moving at about 25 inches a minute. Going that slow kind of messed with the kerf width of the plasma cutter, and the kerf width is basically the beam, what the diameter of that beam is that's shooting through into the material, as far as I know. So that made it just a little bit wider since I was going slower and with higher amperage. So that kind of messed with a little bit. So these holes are actually kind of bigger than I thought they would be. So that happens, but I think it'll still work with 5/8 bolts whenever I put a clamp in there. So hopefully that works out. Now let's get to welding this thing.
There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. There goes a sight from my soul. I think it's all angels just walk by. 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 There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my there goes a sight.
Nothing about this thing is really ever going to be straight because I can't get it straight, and I've already torn it apart once and I don't want to tear it apart again. So I'm just going to weld it straight to the plate this time. And I'll use the magnetic angle blocks just to try and make things straight, but that doesn't guarantee that they are going to be straight. So we'll see.
There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. walk by. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my there goes a sight.
Well, I finally got the weld table done, and it's far from perfect, I would say. Some of the holes, I had to re-zero the plasma cutter a couple different times, so some of these holes don't line up just exactly perfectly. And I made these clamps. So these clamps are like $40 or $50 if you get them brand new. And I found a YouTube video where some guy used these 5/8 bolts and welded them right to these Harbor Freight clamps. And these Harbor Freight clamps are like $3.99 or $2.99 or whatever. So this whole thing is literally less than $5, which is amazing. And it works really good. But the holes that they go in are slightly oversized, so they don't fit as tight as I would like them to, but that's okay. They'll still get the job done. As far as flatness goes, I'm not too sure how flat this whole thing is, but there's no real weeble wobble to it, unless the piece of ground that it's setting on is perfectly counteracts wherever the weeble wobble is. So I think we're okay there. I mean, this thing, it's pretty sturdy. So, I mean, I think it's flat. I don't know how flat this is. I'm sure there's some type of dip in the middle here, because there's no cross brace that goes across from here. It's sort of all open in the middle, which I realize, but really what this is for, I'm not looking to weld aerospace type stuff. I mean, I just want something to weld something on rather than a piece of wood. So, I mean, that's what this basically solves. So it works out for that, and it worked out really good aside from having to tear it apart because I wasn't happy with how it was wobbling. So I don't know if that was the correct way to go about it, but that's the only thing I could come up with. And I also finally put the old vise on here. This vise was from the table that my granite surface plate is on. And I robbed it from that table, and now my granite surface plate has its own table, and I put this vise over here. And I was thinking about putting this on casters, but I kind of decided not to, because if I'll be using the vise, I want something really sturdy and rigid. So I think we'll just keep it like it is and roll with it. So I think that's it for now, so thanks for watching.
There goes a sight from my soul.